The way I see it, this woman was not trying to hit him. She was not trying to run him over. I think she was trying to drive.
What? She is wrong. We have all the evidence to show that Renee Good was actively trying to kill the ICE officer.
Yeah, I think they just f***ing murdered that guy. Yeah, who goes to a protest and brings a gun?
Yeah, I'm gonna crash out. I'm actually gonna fucking crash out right now. Oh my god, okay.
Conservatives tend to be complete and utter f***ing bootlickers. Don't tread on me becomes tread harder, daddy, real fast.
Oh my god. We are in a lukewarm civil war. We have been in a lukewarm civil war for a long time. I don't care. I literally don't care. I literally do not give a fuck anymore. Because what else am I supposed to do? She's a great example of I don't have to agree with you on everything to like you. Yes, actually. I saw some people debating Shue before stream started. Obviously, people can have their opinions of her if they want, because I don't care, right? Everyone's got their opinions at the end of the day. If you're wrong, you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. In this case. And I might disagree a lot with this video. I know I cringe a lot watching it. I mean, if you're like the fourth person I've seen so far in chat talking about how they disagree with a lot with this video. So I am very curious to see how my opinions are going to be then, because let's be honest here, chat. We're kind of in a bubble here. Usually we agree with each other on a lot of stuff. There's very few times where I actually like, disagree with chat, or chat disagrees with me on certain stuff. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I feel like that's pretty normal when it comes to streaming audiences here.
Hello friends, my name is ShoeOnHead, and welcome to my new series, The Hellworld Report. Some of you may remember my old series that was just called Hellworld. If you do, you can qualify for a veterans discount. Congratulations!
Yay, I get the veterans discount! As I was like, wait a second. How is this new? I mean, the animation's new, but I know Hellworld, and but apparently I do get the veterans discount. Anyways.
And if you remember the Gamergate days, well, please come collect your retirement. If you have not seen my old series, go check it out. I will put the link to the playlist down below. I think it's a really interesting time capsule into the years 2020 and 2021, like how crazy it was back then, and then in retrospect comparing it to how crazy it is now. But this is a shorter, more condensed version of that series. Think of it as a Temu, Jon Stewart, or Stephen Colbert before they morphed into the same flavor of shitlib. You see, I'm better than those late night Jimmies because I don't get my news from mainstream sources like some kind of hack. No. I get them from far more reputable places like Instagram Reels and Femboy Groiper69 on Twitter. From furry ballrooms and the Epstein files to OnlyFans green cards and kidnapping foreign leaders, from government-funded purple-haired girlfriends to a potential civil war, we have a very packed show for you today. It has been a crazy year, and it is only January. As I am filming this, we are currently—
It's actually the last day of January, January 31st. And I feel like I've done nothing this month. Like, I feel like I literally didn't do jack shit this month. It has gone way too fast. At the same time, though, so much has happened in 1 month that it's like, wait, it's been a year. So I'm not sure if that's compounding my feelings over the fact that nothing, like, I haven't done anything.
having a huge winter storm.
This morning, snow, ice, and frigid temperatures sweeping across the nation. 20 states under a state of emergency.
Ah yes, perfect weather to make some poor immigrant deliver me chicken tendies. It's so cold that Michigan and Minnesota received reports about exploding trees. Leftists said no more ice, and God said— Anyway, in news that should have stayed in 2016, apparently there is a new term women have coined called man-keeping. Man-keeping is why women are done with dating. Researchers at Stanford have finally given a name to something many women have been dealing with for years. It's called man-keeping, and it's helping explain why so many women are stepping away from dating altogether.
So, they dropped mansplaining, and they dropped manspreading. At least, it seems like they dropped it. I haven't really been paying attention to this feminist in a long minute because, well, nobody cares what women have to say. Now we have man-keeping? Are they really, like, I know, like, the tranny stuff is kind of out the window. Nobody likes them anymore. I know the gays are falling out of favor, too. As for Black Lives Matter, nobody cares about it. Are we trying to bring back feminism again? Are we trying to bring back, like a social justice warrior, like, style of feminism with this? I'd rather not. Can we just move on? Can we go past all this nonsense?
Man-keeping describes the emotional labor women end up doing in heterosexual relationships. It goes beyond remembering birthdays or coordinating social plans. It means being your partner's one-man support system, managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hand through feelings he won't share with anyone else. All of it unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated. I hate this therapy speak people talk with nowadays. Emotional labor? You mean being there for your partner? This is why so many people are just gonna start dating ChatGPT. People thought men were gonna be the ones dating AI. No. They're gonna be the ones with these sex robots. Women are the ones who want the daily affirmation machines. Yes, honey, I love when you talk about all the drama at work. Tell me more about that bitch, Veronica. Man-spreading, mansplaining, man-interrupting, man-keeping, manscaping. Speaking of manscaping, before we dive
Okay, before she dives into the ad read here, I hate women. I hate women so much. I mean, I know this is some sort of like stupid tabloid article. She didn't put the source for what it is. I'm assuming it's like Forbes or Vice or something along those article lines there. And that seems like it's something that would actually like come through that. And it's just like I feel like that's something you can just ignore. I'm sure there's gonna be some women that are lapping it up because the women just love not taking responsibility at the end of the day. But if it's not something that's like I see used in daily life or online a lot, and maybe I'm just being too siloed off. I feel like it's just some sort of this push to make something that's not actually there, so women hate men even more. But then again, I'm not part of like the girly pop TikTok side of things, which I'm sure they probably will. Do you hate yourself too, Amal? Why, of course. New York Times? Did it say that? I missed it? My apologies. Okay, so the New York Times is pushing it. Whatever, opinion disregarded. If a woman actively seriously uses it, at least you know it's a red flag and you should just bullet dodge, right? As she says, man keeping, actively trying to take care of your significant other, your boyfriend, your husband, man keeping. Wow, that's exhausting. Like, yeah, you're supposed to be there for them, you fucking dumb bitch. Yes, it does get exhausting from time to time, but that's part of the relationship. But whatever, woman retarded.
Dive into the news, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor that can help you with your manscaping, Henson Shaving. For the last few decades, razors haven't been designed to work better, they've been designed to be marketed better. More blades, more features, more gimmicks, and skin irritation is just something you're told to deal with. A big cause for that irritation is blade flex. Most razors use springs to let the blades move as you shave. That causes extra friction and razor burn, so people use aftershave, cold water, moisturizer, whatever. They fix the symptoms instead of the cause. But the question nobody asks is, should the blade actually move? How do we fix the actual problem? That's where Henson Shaving comes in. By fully supporting a two-sided blade all across its length at a 30-degree angle, they hold the blade in place to prevent any bouncing, skipping, just giving you an irritation-free shave. No springs, no movement, no reason to compensate with pressure. What separates Henson is the precision behind their design. With their Henson AL13 safety razor being manufactured in the same aerospace machine shop that built parts for the International Space Station. This level of precision allows the blade to extend just 1/1000th of an inch beyond the shave plane, less than the thickness of a human hair. Since I switched to Henson like almost 2 years ago now, I've noticed my shaves have been way silkier and smoother. No tugging, no cuts, just a close shave that feels great on my skin. And here is the best part. Once you invest in a Henson razor, it is a lifetime purchase. The only thing you'll need to replace is the blades, which cost 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll only be spending like $3 to $5 per year on blades, compared to the ongoing cost of buying those little plastic cartridges. Also, the Henson store offers a bunch of different colors, so you can pick out the razor that best suits your vibe. So if you're tired of razor burn, skin irritation, and paying for overpriced,
This reminds me of actually, well, speaking of 2016 feminism and social justice bullshit, right? This reminds me of a hard talking point that feminists had during that time period called the pink tax, where women would complain about how their products were more expensive than men's, and it was like unfair. I know my sister would rant and rave to me about this as well. And like at first hand, I was like, wow, that's unfair. Why do women have to, pay more than for the same products as men? Why are their razors more expensive? And they always use razors as an example. And then it's like, wait, hold on a second here. Maybe consider the fact that women's and men's skins are different. So they have to have different, so the razors are made differently because women have more sensitive skin than men do. Also, the fact that women like pretty colors and sparkles versus men are totally okay with just black or just like basic bitch colors that are just gonna be mass produced. They don't need fun shit. And so, like, versus every single woman's razor is like pink and sparkly or blue and sparkly and all this different stuff, and it's like Venus or something like fancy along those lines with all the women's razors there. Meanwhile, go like at the men's razors and it's like basic bitch fucking shit, or like they promote electric razors, and so it's cheaper just to buy the electric razor and then get the replacement ones instead. And so like, and then also women are very easily marketable, and because if you make it sound fancier, like Delta Cross brings up the ergonomic candles and stuff like that, they can basically manipulate women into paying more for what's actually needed. And for the longest time, I did actually use the men's razors because of this. But then I eventually did switch to the women's razors just because they are actually made for women after all, even if they are a little bit more expensive, because I do have very sensitive skin. I've had skin problems my entire life since I was a baby, and I get razor burns really easily. And so that helped a little bit when it came to the razor burn problem by switching over to a female razor. So it's like, it's actually worth it in the end to buy the female razor more. But this is why female products are so much more expensive because of the different things that they have to factor in specifically for women, and then women like nicer things, and they're also more willing to spend more money if they feel properly advertised to. So all in all, it just kind of adds up to be the 50 cents to $1 more expensive than the men's equivalent for this stuff. So sorry for this tangent here, but just the whole whatever color meets your vibe and razors just reminded me of that. Of the way back in the day. Once apparently I need to collect retirement from Shoe, like she said here. Pink dye is literally more expensive. Tilda did a video on that. Also, women are paying more for pretty colors. Yes, that's my point, right? Like, black doesn't cost that much. You can see this on Amazon, for example, when you can choose, I don't fucking know, your air filter, like a humidifier or something like that. I know, some random object, right? And you go and you look, and it's like the black one is like really cheap, or it's like usually like, you know, a couple dollars cheaper. And then if you go choose like a blue one or a pink one, it's like $5 to $10 more expensive depending on the object. There, it's the same fucking thing, but with women's products because women like pretty colors. Fun fact: the more you shave, the faster your hair grows out again. Yeah, that's another reason why I don't like to shave this super often, because I don't like to deal with it. So. I walked away. We're only on the ad. Listen, I was making good points. I swear. Oh. Thank you, Isengard, for the $10 videos. Thank you. She was a critical breed, and critical as in moist critical, breed of enlightened centrist, judging by her take on Kirk's killing being, I hate the left, I'm still gonna feel blue no matter who. She's not a mommy, she's a commie. I mean, I don't know if I would completely consider her an enlightened centrist for different things, but like I said before we started the video, her politics hasn't actually changed all that much. She's been a socialist this entire time. Even during her anti-social justice warrior days, she was still a socialist. So, which, you know, we can make an argument which kind of socialist is the good kind, and this stuff. I still hold the line of the fact that you can disagree with somebody and still find them entertaining, or like agree with them at some points and disagree with them with others and still like a person. Like, maybe I'm too 2016 still, but I can get along with people with disagreeing political opinions. As long as you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. That's my thing. Now, will I trust a rabid leftist? No, but I can still be cordial with them to you know, the best degree that I can. In that case, I'm not going to like stop a friendship over political takes. I'm just not going to talk politics with them. And in that case, because I still believe in that. I know it's like almost impossible in the modern age. They can't do that with leftists. But if you have somebody like Shu, who is, you know, as you say, an enlightened centrist in this case, I do think it's possible because we do agree on a decent amount of points. I don't really see her voting for Democrats. Like, I reacted to her Charlie Kirk video, but I don't remember her saying that she's still going to vote for the Democrats in this case. But maybe I'm misremembering there. I want to talk about advertising here. You could always go to thedragonstreasure.com and use code Amalgamyte for 10% off your order for your tea, soap, and coffee needs, as well as new powdered energy drinks as well. I mean, the tea man mostly makes the stuff by hand. You know, I usually say that he makes it by hand, but in reality, like, half of it's made by hand. I mean, the soaps are made by hand, as far as I'm aware. Not the individual ingredients. He's not going to be able to get frankincense and make that completely by hand. But, you know, still. And he's got new powdered energy drinks, too, that are brand spanking new. We got blueberry vanilla, mint, and cherry lime. The best part is, he's super fucking based. He's not going to cancel me because I like to say the N-word on occasion. And talk about how, you know, you need to send the blacks back to Liberia and all that fun stuff. Right? Like, we're like, he's a cool dude in that regards. And if you use code Amalgamyte on your to get 10% off your order, you're also helping support the channel at the same time, and you get good coffee and soap. I do in fact actually use the tea and the soap from him. I've been using the frankincense soap myself when I'm showering, because I do in fact shower. I know, it's a miracle. There we go. Speaking of advertisements, and since Cork did do a wonderful ad read for me, I'll read out his ad read on top of it. Keyboard working? Check. Movement on my screen won't get away from me? Check. Chat, at thedragonstreasure.com, you can buy caffeine and soap to clean yourself or perform other activities with. Use code Amalgamyte for 10% off at checkout. Warning, soap can be toxic and ingested in either of the 4 ways possible. Consult a mod for help and see instructions on what to do next. See link below for details. Exactly. Go check it out and don't eat the soap, even though it smells good. It smells really good. I kind of want to eat the soap now, but don't actually eat the soap. Anyway, ad within an ad. We're only 5 minutes in so far.
To razor blades. Henson Shaving is definitely worth checking out. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and 100 blades to your cart. Then enter the code SHOE at checkout to get the blades free with your purchase. Big thanks to Henson Shaving for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, as always, for not skipping the ad. You didn't, right? Now, let's get back to the video. Alright. Let's start with some good news. The median age of home buyers is now 59.
Jesus Christ.
But that's not all. America's seniors will now see a new $6,000 bonus exemption as part of the Working Families Tax Cut. That's $93 billion in tax cuts for seniors all over the country. And by Working Families Tax Cut, they mean you, the working family. Giving another billion-dollar wealth transfer to the most oppressed class. Boomers! Why are we giving these geriatric f***s another tax break? Maybe they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Maybe they should stop buying so much avocado toast. God forbid we help young families raise the next generation of Americans. No, that would be communism. Young people are poor as f*** nowadays. What are they supposed to do?
Piper Raquel, 18, claims she made $2.9 million in a single day after launching OnlyFans.
No more rights. No more women's rights. I am ready for the Islamic Revolution. Mayor Memdani, please press the Islamification button. I know the go-to joke is always, haha, women, am I right? But I think the real question here is, should men be allowed to have credit cards? This woman didn't magically create millions of dollars with her mind out of thin air. No. Millions of men made this woman a millionaire overnight. Where's the accountability for that? I'm out here policing the whores. We need some men to be out there policing the simps. We have a simp epidemic. Simps are out of control. Not all of them, though. Mine are cool. They can stay. Also, isn't this like the...
Yeah, that's right, chat. You can stay. For me, particular. Nobody else. Okay, you're mine. Mine. All mine. Other than that, though, I mean, she kind of has a point. I mean, I think men should have credit cards because, like, I don't trust women with credit cards. They fucking abuse the shit out of that. Amal Yender confirmed. Listen here. Okay, but anyway, I really like you as a friend. Oh, my heart. No. Oh, Amalgamyte, please. Jesus. Okay. Sorry. You guys are too funny. It's hard to make a point when I'm laughing. But, shit. At the end of the day, it's just another symptom of how bad the dating scene is with men and women. Women should not, be doing OnlyFans. They should not be, prostitutes. Because that's what OnlyFans is at the end of the day. It's just online prostitution. And a lot of the videos is her being fucked by other guys and you just pay for it, which is retarded. I know Pornhub got wiped a few years ago because people clamored and complained about the rape fantasies, which sucked. But whatever. That case. But, like, that's a woman's problem, okay? Woman most affected that the rape fantasies and non-con and hypno was removed. But basic bitch vanilla porn is still allowed. And, like, you can just look it up for free. There's hentai for free. You don't need to pay for porn when it's free. I know the whole point is trying to actually be able to date her, but, like, at the same time, are you actually going to be able to date her when she's OnlyFans? So, like, I think every man's, like, aware of this fact, right? That even, like, maybe I'm just talking to the wrong demographic here, but I'm over, like, I see guys paying for OnlyFans, and I'm like, she's not gonna date you. She's literally, this is the OnlyFans is notorious for being the paid porn website. Like, I know it's part of it's a connection, too, because a lot of these hoes have, managers, as we could say, that talk to these guys and pretend to be the woman and pretend to listen to them and care. Like, that's a good chunk of it, too. That we have AI chatbots now to hold that, have that, like, connection. Because once again, all this is just a symptom of how broken the dating scene is, where a woman can go out and sleep around and be whores, and in this case, make a shit ton of money. Though usually the ones that are making a shit ton of money are the ones already established, like whoever this bitch is. I don't know who she is, but apparently she was like she's already famous. And that's why she was able to make that much money. Most women don't make shit off OnlyFans. They hear stories like this and think like, oh, I can make good money off of it. In reality, only like the top 0.1% actually make decent livable wage. Not exactly livable wage, or get rich off of it. And like the other like top 2% are the ones that make decent wages off of it. So it's not worth it. You're ruining your entire future to be a literal cheap whore by selling your body out, trying to get rich quick. And there's so many women doing it, and a lot of women are not actually that attractive too. And it's just absolutely retarded to do so. I know I'm not exactly addressing her point for men not having credit cards in this case and men policing. In a way, she's technically correct. But I see, I don't know, it's, there's definitely men, I do agree that, like, men should call each other out because we have a problem of a weak men in the hard time scenario here. A lot of people blame women for the reason why the dating scene is what it is, and it's not actually their fault. It's both men and women are being hurt by the modern society, and thanks to feminism, I do feel like men are the ones that get the shorter end of the stick between the two. Then again, the more women go down this path, the shorter the stick gets for men, and which obviously makes things worse for women in the end. So it's like an endless vicious cycle in that case, and there's really only one way to fix it, and that's of course the voter way out of this. Which is highly unfortunate because if men can't get jobs because they're white straight males and they're being replaced by foreign immigrants, and women are going to Jew daycare and they're not having kids till they're 30, and they're going to college or just slut factories where they get to sleep around and be useless and get into massive amount of debt for a useless degree, it doesn't actually make a stable society. Like, women should be literally go from their dad's house, the parents' house, to the husband again. We should revert back to that. Women aren't made to be independent, and that would that would save a lot. That's not happening anytime soon. It's going to cause a lot of damage to revert, seeing that our economy is based off two person household working at all times, which is not stable at all. I feel sorry for men and women. Yeah, that's how I am, because a lot of people, like I said, it's really easy to blame women for this, when in reality it's feminism that caused the problem. And feminism is just communism by making women equal to men and making them horrible faux men in that case. They're not supposed to be. Women have a different role than men, and forcing them into Jew daycare is not the solution. It's actually part of the problem.
Third OnlyFans 18th birthday announcement, and the woman turns into a millionaire overnight. Someone a little sus about that. But don't worry, thanks to AI, we are entering a new age of goonerism. Honestly, what's the big deal? Men are already talking to the guys in India who run the accounts of OnlyFans models. Is this really any different? The internet is slowly but surely just becoming Indian men scamming other Indian men. But don't worry, not every internet waifu is a man using AI. In fact, if you live in the UK, you may get a state-funded, far-right, purple-haired waifu. Introducing Pathways, a point-and-click video game created by the UK government to help prevent online radicalization.
Pathways is an educational visual novel and learning experience created by the UK media company Shoutout UK, with funding from UK government's Prevent program run by the Home Office. The game is meant to teach the youth about dangers of radicalization and extremism in both real life and online. This is done by putting the players in a role of a character named Charlie, who must navigate 6 different scenarios relating to extremism. In the second scenario, the player is introduced to the character Amelia, a staunch anti-immigration protester depicted as a goth girl with purple hair, a pink dress, and a choker.
And the internet instantly fell in love with her. It's like they made her have short purple hair thinking that that would prevent this from happening. But the UK failed to consider the fact that conservatives love art hoes. They act like they don't, they'll deny it, they'll pretend they just want a blonde traditional housewife, but deep down every conservative wants a woman who looks like this, who says the N-word. Government-funded video games. Incredible. At least our government doesn't do weird shit like that. No,
I mean, I think both are true. I think men both, because the thing is, I forget the actual statistic, but I remember learning in my AP Psych class, or during that time period, that about men find about 80% of women attractive. So roughly along those lines. So most men find most women attractive, in that case. Obviously, there's gonna be some exceptions, but we hear the jokes about men fucking the 300-pound woman. That happens all the time, right? Like the man will fuck anything that fucking breathes and feels nice at the end of the day. So, and plus with the loneliness epidemic being as bad as it is, guys' standards are really just a woman being nice to them And I don't really like talking on behalf of men, but every time I do, I ask chat, okay, is this actually true? Just to be sure. So far, it's always been a yes. Well, I'll do the same thing here. You know, chat, is that correct? I know you're men. There's no woman here. Do you just want a woman that looks relatively nice and is nice to you? Yes. Yes. And yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So far it seems like so far it seems I'm right in this regards for understanding men. 6.5 crazy cooks, not crazy. Yeah, and still kind of picky. Fair enough. I care about her debt profile. Honestly, good luck with that. Every single woman's in debt. um, no, lol. Okay, we got a no in here. I mean, as long as she isn't obese, okay. As long as she's thin, okay. So it seems like it's a yes also, but then not being obese, which is understandable. No something ring. No, not obese. White. Um, sometimes they can be too goth. I mean, that's fair enough. Women preferred breathing optional. Yes, as long as not obese or too old. Yeah, like, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I mean, to a certain degree, I do think men should probably raise their standards, but then again, I understand why the standards are so low in the first place, and I'm not exactly in the position to criticize that, in a lot of ways. And so the woman, I mean, once again, I know female standards of beauty are different than male standards of beauty, but the two women that she showed on screen here, maybe I should have done a frame by frame.
Wants a woman who looks like this.
Okay, so that I mean, I think that woman looks pretty, in my opinion. And then the other woman she popped up, I think she also looks pretty, though I think she's got more makeup in this case. I think it's the lipstick. The lipstick's too much in my opinion, but that's my female opinion. That the lipstick's too much. If she didn't have the lipstick, I think she would look a lot better. But like, she's still pretty here, like in that case. So long as she's not fat and is nice, that's basically the male standards these days. Generally, is what I've gathered so far. So, both need less makeup. Understandable. Understandable in those regards. Though I think, well, at least in the case of the goth, that's a lot of part of the appeal of the goth is the makeup in that case. She actually doesn't have that much. She's wearing eyeshadow. She's wearing mascara. Actually, those are probably fake eyelashes in general, and she's wearing eyeliner. I don't think she's wearing any lipstick, which I don't like lipstick in general. So to me, that's a benefit. She's probably wearing some sort of foundation too. You don't see any blemishes, so she's definitely wearing a decent amount. Versus the other chick was a little bit more caked on. But once again, it's probably the lipstick that gets me. I don't like lipstick. In that case. So, but once again, even without makeup, men usually find women attractive because yes, they're meant to procreate. They're meant to spread their seed. They're meant to just go out and fuck and have sex and like and have multiple children. And so, as long as she's a mid, right, and mid means average at the end of the day. So that's majority of women are mid. They're average for a reason. That's the definition of average, right? The majority. She's fine. She's fine. The male standards these days are must be female, optional. Seeing how catgirl robots are in high demand, that's definitely true.
Government funded video games. Incredible. At least our government doesn't do weird shit like that. No, our government is very normal.
Isn't the Biden admin though?
Believe it or not, Mar-a-Lago Furry Party was on my 2026 bingo card.
What?
I miss when this weird
I fully expected the Biden admin. This is the fucking shit that the Biden admin would do. What do you mean is that Mar-a-Lago? What?
was just done underground. I miss when these parties were secret. Speaking of, the Epstein files were released. Wow. Incredible. The things they are showing us are eerie enough. I couldn't imagine the things that they're redacting. It is absolutely disgusting that these powerful people are still being protected. We as a country should be extremely concerned about an international child trafficking ring. This is not just something we—
Sorry, not the I didn't want to like interrupt her too much, but she switched topics so fast. That was Trump. Okay, I'll let her continue with Epstein. I guess it's sort of kind of connected in a ways, and but
all move from, and we kidnapped the president of Venezuela.
Breaking just now.
Oh, okay. Wow, she's going through these topics like fucking hotcakes here. Though, since more Epstein files did get released today, I will commentate on this because like, she made this video obviously days ago versus without the Epstein update for today. Anyway, so I did see some of the files that were being passed around there. I'm gonna have probably a spicy take on this, and I think it's gonna be spicy because I'm being enlightened centrist to stick up my ass. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Like, it isn't great, right? Don't get me wrong, it isn't great. but it isn't as damning as what a lot of people were expecting based off what it was. And let me explain. So we'll start off with the first one about Trump, because the leftist Twitter has been passing around these images of Trump having these allegations against them, but those are cropped on purpose. And when you look at them, it shows that the FBI dismissed them and the investigators dismissed it because they were not considered credible and they're anonymous and there's holes in their story essentially. And so basically the entirety thing shows that Trump was actually innocent, surprisingly. So, like I do say surprisingly in that case because it is legitimately surprising to me. And then there's the funny shit like Epstein being banned off Xbox in 2013, which I'm like, okay, how did you get banned off Xbox in 2013? Back in those days, you could say the N word like crazy and be fine. Like he had to be like griefing and teabagging and doing like a bunch of like heinous different shit, which I don't even know how bad did he have to be banned off Xbox Live in 2013. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then he's also into Yuri, which is not that surprising because men do like lesbians after all. So it's not that surprising, but it's still funny that he was into Yuri. And then Bill Gates, was he the one that got the STD from Russian prostitutes? That happened. That was fucking hilarious actually. There were some bad things in there. Don't get me wrong. Like there's mentioning of pizza. There were some mentions of pizza. Like I really like that slice of pizza and like other stuff. And I do remember. I'm not sure how much I can actually talk about this to be honest, because I'm not sure if this is YouTube safe or not. But way back in the day, there was a conspiracy theory called Italian Gate or Zuggates. You know, something along those lines. If you get my drift. And it was covered up pretty fast, and a lot of people like chalked it up to be like a tenfold conspiracy theory across the board, because it just sounded so ridiculous. But things have come out over the years to definitely show that maybe it's not actually a conspiracy theory. And then with these files mentioning things about pizza and very strange emails and stuff, it definitely lends more credibility to that. So that does make me a bit concerned, to say the least. And I feel like there should be a little bit more of an investigation there. It's because I honestly feel like that's probably the most credible one that I've seen so far, is the weird mentions of pizza in those emails. Because, yeah. But other than that, I mean, yeah, there were girls, there were sex parties. Some of the girls were 16, 17 years old. And that is bad, right? Being, taking 16-year-old girls is bad. But it's also, so far from what we've seen, or what I've seen, it's also not like end of the world. Because maybe I'm coming from the like Vanta black pilled, like I don't like nothing ever happens kind of camp, because I was all like about this time last year, so I was all for the Epstein files being released. I did multiple streams, advocating for it. I criticized Pam Bondi repeatedly over her handling of the Epstein files, and it pissed me off that they actually weren't releasing it. But I've come to accept the fact that they basically were never going to actually release it. And like, because at the end of the day, right? I think everyone knows, everyone who's been in the political space has known about the fact that yes, we are being in charge from a pedophile elite class. Maybe they're not actually lizard people, but like, I think it's a well-known fact that they're basically all pedophiles that do heinous things. And it sucks. It's not a good thing, but whenever somebody has that much money and that much power, it's going to lead them to do some dark things to entertain themselves. And it's unfortunate that nothing's actually going to be happening to them, because it would be nice if they actually did get arrested and gotten the death penalty, or at least locked behind bars for, years to come for being, the way that they are. Well, at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen if we're talking about the richest, most influential people in the world. And so therefore, crying over it is not the best use of at least my energy, I feel like. When I feel like there are bigger issues that directly affect us more, like mass immigration, be the great replacement, deporting the illegals and the illegals in the United States, repealing the 19th, like all those are stuff definitely more a deal in pipe dreams. But I feel like they're more realistic than going after the elite pedophiles. But at least maybe I'm soaking some copium there. So yeah, I have probably a more middle ground fence stuck up my ass opinion about the Epstein files than either side really actually cares for. Which, I mean, it is what it is. Like that's my opinion, and it is like, and that's how I feel. Those bigger issues are easy to do. The rich are afraid of the people. Well, true. It sucks. It just fucking sucks.
Maduro, the president says, has been captured.
Maduro has been captured and flown out of the country.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
First pictures of Nicolas Maduro on the Iwo Jima that he was being transferred on.
Trump voters voted to fix the economy and to afford homes again. They didn't vote to kidnap communists in the middle of the night. Actually, they probably did vote for that.
That'd be funny. It's funny.
Never mind.
The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Holy shit. This is the most transparent administration in history. They weren't lying. I don't know if it's the Stockholm Syndrome or what, but it's almost refreshing to hear a leader say, yeah, this is about oil. Like, thank you, sir. Thank you for just saying it's about oil. Thank you for not pretending it's about saving democracy and just doing imperialism the old-fashioned way. We have such terrible Middle Eastern war fatigue that it was shocking to not hear about how Venezuela is just jealous of our freedoms or some shit. Like, no, it's just for ExxonMobil. Like, okay, carry on.
The US used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through their nose, and vomiting blood during the daring raid to capture dictator Nicolas Maduro.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we don't have healthcare, this is why. We have invisible laser beams that can make people bleed out their f***ing eyes. Apparently, directed energy weapons are real. The Goy beam is real. Deep state pedophiles are real. Havana syndrome is real. Hell, it's almost like being a conspiracy theorist is just another word for being correct too early. What's next? COVID was fake?
There have been significant developments in the last 5 to 7 years on social, environment, and technology fronts that could help realize My Carbon initiatives for shaping the future towards smart and sustainable cities. COVID-19 was the test of social responsibility. A huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility.
Oh, sorry, I just owe many people many apologies. Anyway, Venezuela has no—
Okay, to be fair, when it comes to this World Economic Forum admitting that COVID was a test of social responsibility, that article came out in 2022. I did show it on screen because I did cover the World Economic Forum meeting that happened last week. Yo, check out the VOD if you're interested. That was from 2022. I mean, it still applies, obviously, that they just straight up admit that it's a test of social responsibility and they'll fuck with us on purpose just for government control. Yeah, it still sucks. It still fucking sucks because it was a complete absolute scam. We ruined our economy for nothing. Many people died for nothing. Oh, died alone, I should say. And those that did die didn't actually die of COVID for the most part. A good chunk of those COVID deaths that the CNN death toll had was all about like there was one like died of a car crash and like they counted as a COVID death, for example, or the actual flu, or people dying of cancer and have weakened immune systems and then they get COVID and it's counted as a COVID death. Like a lot of that was actually fake and gay. Not that many people died of legit COVID, and if they did, they were old. Or they're very young children with immune problems, which is also very, very rare. So it's mostly just elderly. So elderly most affected. Wow, what a shock. The elderly are dying. Like we literally ruined everything for a cough, in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure I had COVID before. I did not actually take the test because I did not care because I knew I wasn't gonna die. I got really sick 1 week. I was sick for basically the whole entire week. I felt like death. It was awful. One of the worst flus I've ever had in my entire life. But I survived. And I went back to work and they're like, well, did you have COVID? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, did you like take a test? And I'm like, no. And he's like, why didn't you take a test? Because I was like, well, I was just sick. Like, I don't care. I knew I wasn't going to die. I wasn't so bad I was going to be hospitalized. It didn't really matter to me. And they're like, well, you should have taken a test. And I was like, well, did I fucking die? I did. Like, I'm fine. Like, it's so stupid. Like, was it probably COVID? Probably. But it really was just a really bad flu, and I survived. And I definitely did not take the COVID shot, because I knew this was a scam. What do you mean a vaccine, quote-unquote, that's made in 8 months? Literally called Operation Warp Speed. It's safe. Bypassed animal testing, goes straight to humans, and mass-produced. And completely funded by Pfizer and Moderna, and handed out like candy to these governments. Yeah, that sounds safe and effective. That sounds like doesn't have any long-term consequences. Fuck you. I'm not taking that shit. And now people are dropping like flies. So many people have died because of the shot. Though, of course, they won't actually admit that. Or have random heart problems. Different things like that. Who knows what happens with fertility, too. There are some, speaking of conspiracy theorists, or just people who are right before it's okay to say it's okay to be right. There are some rumors and speculations that actually affects fertility, both in men and women. So that's cool. in those cases. So we'll see how that cookie crumbles. So literally we ruined people's lives for years for no reason other than the government just wanted to fuck with us and try to get as much control as possible. Just because.
President, who is going to run Venezuela?
So we are going to run the country.
A few moments later.
Hola amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trumpo.
Can we maybe just fix our country first? Can we fix our broken infrastructure, our education system? Can we do a little nation building in this nation? Can a bitch get a little regime change in our own country, please? And you know, with modern American nation building comes refugees. So who is gonna take in these Venezuelan refugees? Are we? Only the hot ones, apparently.
United States increasingly issuing work visas to OnlyFans models based on level of audience reach, according to the Financial Times.
Imagine being an immigrant from like some poor country, working your ass off to get a work visa in the United States, when all you had to do was bend over and show hole. Big booty Latinas to the front, tortas to the back. Anyway, na boo-boo, my president can kidnap your president. We're invincible. We can regime change anyone we want. Who's next? Canada, Greenland, Cuba? Cuba's literacy rates are higher than ours. Maybe they should come liberate our dumbasses. Kids are swiping on books. But f it, the dumb.
Okay, Shoo. I know why you're not doing this because you're making this YouTube safe. But can't we have a demographic breakdown over those kids swiping on books and literacy rates, please? Just curious what the color swatch ends up being.
Monroe Doctrine, baby. Let's go. America is back. Dick Cheney is looking up at us smiling.
You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship. Their days are numbered.
Trump, listen to me. Wait, Trump doesn't watch this shit. Vance, listen to me. Get people like Lindsey Graham far away from anyone in power right now. This little Venezuela stunt was cute, but we are not touching any other country. We're not touching the Middle East, especially. No more Middle East.
Iran.
We all have Middle East fatigue. We are done. This whole thing really put into perspective just how weird it was that we were there like for 20 years. You mean we could have just been in and out in a few hours? I guess those poppy fields couldn't maintain themselves though. Anyway.
I am surprised you didn't mention Iran. Like, I don't really know anything about it. I just know chat keeps on bringing it up that, like, something's gonna be happening with Iran. So, like, we're very clearly not done with the Middle East.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. But did you forget to check in with Lilith, the barista from Bushwick, and see how she feels about this?
Trump said the United States will be running Venezuela! Woo! A colony! Woo! Imperialism! All for what? So a fucking multinational corporation can get profit!
You know what's funny is...
Would you tap that, chat? Let's say hypothetically. Hypothetically, she gets rid of the nose ring. Is that the goth girlfriend that you want? It grips like a retard. Nope. God, no. I can't fix her. I don't know. If you dig her down hard enough, you might be able to.
You know what's funny is I basically said the exact same thing this person said, but I said it less loudly. She has a nose ring and I don't, so I'm right and she's wrong. End of story. I guess this is just what happens when you dismantle the soft power of things like USAID. We're no longer doing secret regime change operations behind the scenes. Now we're just straight up kidnapping other world leaders in the dead of night and just saying it's about oil, which honestly kind of makes me believe it's not about oil. They're never that blatant, right? I mean, what could it be? Like, Israel isn't behind this one, right?
Oh, it is.
The implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people.
Oh, God damn it. You know, people say I have Israel derangement syndrome, but I'm sorry, I can't help it when they get on TV and say shit like this.
No, it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, and quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control social media.
Yeah, should do that.
Try explaining that to someone without showing them the video. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a Jewish...
Okay, Sue is getting spicy. She's definitely testing the waters here for, what is YouTube safe, and I'm not complaining at all. I am not complaining at all, because, it's nice seeing someone bigger than me actually talk about this stuff. So there are a lot of people that like I like obviously there's some debate at the beginning about Shoe being enlightened centrist about different things. Once again, I feel like she's not an enlightened centrist. She definitely has some views that are still a little bit normie, safe, and milk toast, at least how she packaged them. But come on now. Come on. I know anti-Semitism is a little bit more mainstream because both the left and the right hate them for different reasons. But it seems like she hates them for the right reasons, not the left reasons. I'm not saying she's like based, because women can't be based at the end of the day. But I do think people don't give her enough credit where credit is due.
Billionaire named Shlomo who wants to control the internet. Like, okay man, you're in too deep. No more Instagram reels for you. Anyway, you should have just let us play video games. Now we're perp walking the president of Venezuela down the streets of New York City. But hey leftists, just think of it this way. By bombing and kidnapping instead of just doing the usual covert psyops, we saved maybe, what? $1 billion? $1 billion that could go to other, more important things, like defense contractor stock buybacks and empty Somalian daycares, apparently.
Ooh.
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video. Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Oh my god, that scene in framing is insane. MAGA YouTuber. I don't think Shirley's ever came out in support of Trump that I'm aware of. Not like I'm a big fan of his, but I don't think I've ever seen that from him before. Which, based off what he makes his videos of, he's probably actually conservative. You can infer that, but still. MAGA YouTuber and locked doors and her and bothering people and alleging fraud here. Holy fuck. Now, it's seen into is completely expected, right? They obviously are biased, right? And I have my own bias too, if that wasn't apparent. But fucking hell.
Is it blacked out doors? They can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers.
It's not like Nick Shirley was the first person to expose this either, but now it exploded. And the fallout has been bizarre, to say the least. The funniest part had to be when the infamous Luring Center claimed to have been broken into the night this all went viral.
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone.
That guy, by the way, has like $100 some glasses, like hundreds of dollars. I forget how much how expensive those are. But those are designer glasses that he's wearing there. Fun fact. Anyways,
there were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news.
Oh no, somebody broke into the daycare and stole all the paperwork we needed to prove we are a legit operation. Please ignore my suspicious exact paperwork we need to prove we are a legit operation shaped belly. Listen, no hate to the Somalians, but when my family came here 100 years ago, we did organized crime the right way. We would have had tin walls and cement shoes at the bottom of Lake Superior. This is just sad. This is cartoonishly pathetic. Listen, nobody is gonna want to support government programs if they think it's all going to like this. If you want
yeah, I will throw hate the Somalians. They shouldn't be here. Get them deported immediately at the bare fucking minimum. Okay, deportations are the moderate solution. I don't want them here. Get them out. Get them out. Anyways.
People to support a welfare state, you have to make sure that welfare is actually going to real things that help real people. Listen, it's already hard enough to convince a right-wing audience that there's more to leftism than Reddit and butt sex. Now I have to convince them the wealth redistribution I advocate for isn't all going to Somalian welfare pirates. Thanks. That money should be spent on more important things like New Gaza. That's right, the World Economic Forum and Jared Kushner are proud to present New Gaza. Yes, the demolition project is finally complete, folks. Time to build a Sweet Green and a f***ing Deloitte branch on top of the bodies of thousands of dead children. Hell is not hot enough, ladies and gentlemen. Hell is not hot enough. Anyway, because of all this fraud stuff, Tim Walz is stepping down, which is sad to see because he has to be one of my favorite characters in modern America lore. The first white male DEI hire, the last white dude for Kamala Harris, a dying breed. But hey, maybe this marks an official end to the Kamala Harris era, and we can move on and focus on rebuilding the Democratic Party to something more.
Harris stepping toward another White House run.
No. We are not doing this. No. I swear to God, the Democratic Party is like an old friend addicted to heroin or something. You want to help them, you do everything you can to help them, but they don't listen. They keep doing stupid things and hurting themselves. But you just can't give up on them. You can't. You want to see them get better. You know deep down, they could be how they used to be. But it's hopeless. And all your other friends keep saying to you, just forget them. Just forget them, it's not worth it. Come hang out with us instead. But those friends are on crack. Those friends are on crack cocaine. But this Minneapolis fraud thing is looking pretty bad for Tim Walz and the Democrats. People aren't just gonna—
Okay, so to the person who super chatted ages ago about her keep on voting blue, my apologies for my goldfish memory, because thanks to her little rant here, I remember what you're referring to in this case. I remember the video of her trying to give solutions to the Democrats on how to fix their party, because she still wants to support them in some way, shape, or form, which is retarded. Absolutely fucking retarded. Now, I get where she's coming from, where both sides fucking sucks, because both parties do suck. But I'm not gonna vote for the Democrats because I'm not an accelerationist. A party that actively talks about how much they hate me and want me dead on a regular basis. While the Republicans, while they hate me and want me dead, they at least pretend to be on my side. Which you can make an argument that's worse because they're lying to me. But at least they're putting in some policies in place, like what Trump's doing with the deportations, to make things at least a little bit better. It depends on if you go with like Trump version of things, like Trump side of the Republicans, or the rhinos. And even then, Trump's not far enough. Like, he's not far right enough, in my opinion. Not by a fucking long shot. I wish he was a dictator that the left thinks that he was, but I pray to God. But alas, he is not. I do think there's a difference there. Democrats as a whole, completely rotten to the core. Like, the DNC is ran by the fucking Clinton campaign, and Act Blue, I guess George Soros is on both sides technically, but mostly the Democrats. Black Lives Matter, ESG galore, all that fun stuff. Like, they are a million times worse. Are Republicans great? No, they got AIPAC, though AIPAC definitely does fund Democrats too. Once again, like, it's both sides suck, but it's like going back to the lesser of two evils. Trying to help the Democrats is a lost cause, and I know she's just making a joke here, but trying to still support the Democrats in 2026 is actively suicidal. Actively suicidal. And with ours, we sometimes get good policies. Yeah, it highly depends on the Republican and what position of power that they're in. Trump being president is still better than Kamala by a million miles, okay? By a million miles, he is better than Kamala. He's still not, but because things would get actively worse under her. He's just putting a band-aid on an open wound. She would absolutely rip that wound open and completely dismember America if she was in power. So,
don't forget about this. And an ICE officer just shot a woman in the face in Minneapolis.
You can hear the agents tell the woman to get out of the car and approach the SUV. The woman then drives forward. That's when the shots are fired, the car crashing.
As I was writing this video, an innocent woman was picking her kids up from school when an ICE officer jumped in front of her car and randomly shot her in the face. Or an angry protester was blocking the road and tried to run over an ICE officer with her car, so he shot in self-defense. Depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you voted, apparently. The way I see it, this woman was not trying to hit him. She was not trying to run him over. I think she was trying to drive away.
What?
And in an alternate universe, he dodges the car and she drives away. And it's easy to be like, oh, in hindsight, he should have done this, he should have done that. That's like so much of the discourse right now I'm seeing is just in hindsight this, in hindsight that. And it's easy for us to say in hindsight, you know, after the fact. It's easy to say he could have, he should have, but all he saw was a car revving up and going towards him. This has been one of the most insane political Rorschach tests I've ever seen in my life. It really all comes down to—
okay, hold the phone, hold on, wait a second. Okay, hold on, wait a second. So, before I criticize her, she is correct. It's very much divided on red versus blue lines when it comes to Renee Good in particular. Not Alex Pretty, that's a different story in that case. Yes, that is true. Depending on who you voted, it depends on what you saw in the video. 100%. Completely different realities in that case. She is correct by the Rorschach text reference there. Where she is wrong, and this is absolutely retarded, is that I'm not sure. Okay, she had to make this video recently, like within this past fucking week. Renee Good's story has been done. We moved on to Alex Pretty. And Alex Pretty's moved on. We're now waiting for the next person to be retarded again. We have all the evidence to show that Renee Good was actively trying to kill that ICE officer, or I should say, actively trying to hit him. A car is a deadly weapon, so by hitting him, she could have killed him. But technically, she just wanted to hit him. We have the officer's angle, where he's right in front of the car. She looks directly at him. She smiles at him, and her lesbian wife was yelling her, "Drive, baby, drive." He literally gets hit. You can see him stumbling to the ground there and having to catch himself. And he had internal bleeding that has been confirmed. Everything, and if you watch the slowing down of the video, you can see her turning her wheels and them spinning and like supposedly directing at him. Everything she did there was on purpose to hit him, and she didn't care about the consequences in the moment with an adrenaline rush, because she knew she was going to be arrested because she was harassing ICE agents all day because she's part of the ICE Watch groups. She's a literal domestic terrorist because she's part of these ICE Watch groups. They have pages upon pages of documents talking about how to go into the legal gray area to disrupt ICE and impede their investigations, and to use code names and watch what they say in group chat, so in case they get arrested, they can't be used against them in court. They are actively doing multiple illegal things on so many levels, and her wife were working together and doing what was considered the safer version of impeding ICE by blocking the road. She committed so many crimes in that one day, even before she hit the officer, but she purposely did. This is retarded, Shue. I love you. I've been a long-term fan, and it is what it is at the end of the day, but holy fuck. Why do you have this opinion? I get some crazy rabid leftists having this because they're going to protect their, that's the great thing about the left is that they never capitulate. They always protect their own when they do stuff like this. I mean, they eat their own all the time if they break the whole DEI framework of things, if they go against the Church of Woke. But when it comes to political actions like this, when they're rioting and driving into officers, they 100% protect them to the T because they were martyred for the cause. That's the issue. If she brought up Alex Preddy, I would be more understandable for her position because, like she is correct, hindsight is 20/20 vision. It's easy in the comfort of our chairs to go through the videos frame by frame, slow down multiple angles compared to what the ICE officer did. ICE officers have to deal with in these moments when they're dealing with this stuff. But even Alex Preddy's shooting was justified too. His officers had literally 4 seconds between finding the gun, the gun misfiring, and then trying to decide life or death if where the gun was coming from in that case, because there's a whole mess there. Renee Good is a very clear and cut case. She was intentionally trying to hit the ICE officer with a deadly weapon, because that's what a car is. Oh, okay, sorry. Rant over. We'll continue the video. Shue, I love you. You're retarded because you're technically correct but wrong at the same time.
To how you view ICE and police officers in general. Many, not all, leftists view ICE as completely illegitimate. Same with the police, they want to abolish both. So you're not going to get a real unbiased conversation with those people. Because why the f should a protester respect ICE in the first place? And many, not all, conservatives tend to be complete and utter f***ing bootlickers. Completely unable to criticize anything the police do. ICE can do no wrong. Don't tread on me becomes tread harder, daddy, real fast. This is extremely aggravating discourse, and you
Oh my god! Okay, I saw somebody said that it gets worse. I wasn't expecting it to get worse within 5 seconds. Holy shit. Okay, I am not a big fan of the government. I have been heavily critical about the Trump administration for the past, 8 months now. I was super supportive when he won the presidency. I had a whole, celebration election stream. The first few months, I was super happy with things that were going. But then as things started getting worse and worse and worse, I was criticizing him more and more and more. Because at the end of the day, like I said, Trump's not far right enough in my opinion. We have half the country needs to be deported. I am not being hyperbolic here. If you actually do the math, because I am against legal immigration, as well as illegal, I'm against both, half the country needs to be deported. You have about 75 to 100 million illegals here. Because the number of 12 million has been repeated for decades now, even before the Biden wave came into place. So that has to be wrong on some sort of levels. We already know there's plenty of immigration scams and lawyers in place to help these people get green cards and citizenship and Social Security. They have, instead of Social Security, they also have something called ITN. Sorry, that's the wrong acronym there. ITIN, there we go. Numbers instead for their businesses and jobs as well. It's their version of Social Security. And those cases where they're not actually citizens, but they're also citizens at the same time, it's a weird fucking gray area in those cases. We know there are these visa scams where somebody gets legal citizenship and then they help bring people over and then help them get their citizenship that way. We know about remittances that go back to the home country. We know that there's literally the Trump administration admitted last summer there's 55 million people on visas. So if we add the 75 to 100 million people are here illegally, and that includes the ones that are technically legals, but not really because they scan the system. And then the ones that are on visas. And then maybe the Somalians that came here illegally due to Christian charities as well. Or Haitians in Ohio, once again, Christian charities. All these foreigners that don't belong here. You're talking about half the country needs to be deported. And even if you're not as extreme as I am when it comes to illegal immigration, let's say you are believing the numbers that they're let's say 25 million people here illegally, way on the lower end for different things. You're not going to be able to deport these people easily. They are here illegally for a reason, right? They broke a serious federal crime. Most of these people commit other heinous crimes like rape, murder, drugs, sex trafficking, etc., like that. In some way, shape, or form. We're not talking about great people just in general here. They're going to be resistant and we're going to be violent. And then you have half the country, or half the actual citizens of the country, I should say, being violent leftists who I've already talked about ICE Watch 10 minutes ago, actively impeding these ICE investigations, having these whistles, following ICE agents around, blocking roads, going into hotels and raiding them and breaking them and being violent, having pots and pans and loud music to stop the ICE officers from getting much sleep, basically making ICE officers' life absolutely miserable on purpose to make sure they can make as much fuck up as possible so things like this happen. It's not going to be pretty to deport even 25 million people when you have them already resisting arrest and trying to run away, and then by violent leftists and thousands, because one of the things about those single chat leaks that came out was that each single chat group only holds about 1,000 people, and they get filled instantly. And there was different zones in Minneapolis, so there's a single chat for every single zone, and there were 7 zones. Plus, they have WhatsApp groups that they talked about as well in those single chat leaks. On top of that, you're talking about 7,000 to 10,000 people in Minneapolis alone that are actively trying to impede ICE. You do not think that this is not going to go down well? It's not going to be pretty? It's a fucking miracle. There hasn't been more happy accidents occurring here. Or I should say, accidents happening. It's a fucking miracle there's no more Renee Goods and Alex Pretties that are occurring for what the ICE officers had to deal with on a literal daily basis for weeks now. Now, once again, I'm not a big fan of the government, but I understand that power is all that matters. And we have to utilize the power that we have while we have it, because unfortunately we live in a democracy. And use ICE, because it's the tool of the government that we have, along with border control and all the, the other federal agencies, to get rid of these people. Because how else are we supposed to? Especially when Tim Walz is ordering the National Guard and the police do not work with the ICE in general, which is also part of the problem, because police are trained to deal with riots. Police are trained to deal with protests. They're trained to deal with people on the ground. ICE isn't. ICE is only trained to throw people in body bags and throw them over the border. They're not meant to deal with actual civilians. They're meant to deal with hardened criminals, these illegals. And so when you don't have the police and National Guard working with them because Walz is being treasonous and a slimy fucking piece of shit, then yeah, you're going to have these. So once again, it's a fucking miracle that 2 more people haven't died in the process of been seriously injured. Like, this is such a retarded take in this case. I'm sorry, Shoe. Because like I said, I've been a fan of her for a long time, and like I said way before the beginning of the video, I'm not going to agree with her on everything. But this is insufferable. Like, yes, I'm biased. I'm clearly on the right. Some would argue far right. Some would call me center right. I don't really care. I'm on the right, obviously. I have my bias here. But my bias is wanting my country to be for Americans. Somalians should go back to Somalia. That's why they're called Somalians. There should be no such thing as a hyphenated American. There should not be Mexican Americans. There should be Haitian Americans. There should not be whatever the fuck Americans. They literally call it that because they have their own origin in the country. And it's genetic. Like, that's where they belong. Send them back. They don't belong here. This is insufferable. And unfortunately, you do need the government to get rid of this because the local people aren't going to do it because that's vigilantism, and vigilantism is illegal and bad. So what are we supposed to do? Sit here and twiddle our fucking thumbs? Yell into the void of the internet even more? Like, what the fuck? Sorry, this actually legit pisses me off, this take of hers. This is literally, like...
You should be questioning anyone who takes a really firm, hard stance either way and, like, can't fathom how the other side is seeing what they are seeing. The first episode of my old Hell World series was actually all about police brutality. It was all about police brutality towards innocent protesters. I was a little more ACAB-y back then. I was a little more libbed the f*** out back then. But hey, to be fair to me,
I mean, she was hanging around Bosch.
Back then, that is what happens when you live in the sheltered suburbs of Long Island in your parents' basement versus having a kid and living in the city for 4 years. The police are a taxpayer-funded HR department for structural violence. They exist solely to protect the rights of private property. Yeah, we need more police. Police are good. Police are great. Give the police more guns. More guns. Give them more guns. Tanks. Tanks, even. But my overall opinion is still basically the same. I'm very critical of the—
I know she's just making a joke, and so I shouldn't take it seriously, but that's essentially the point I just ranted about for like 10 minutes there.
Police, I am very pro First Amendment. Protesting is a fundamental American right, and we can't just go around labeling protesters domestic terrorists. That is an insane slippery slope. And if you support that, I promise you it will come back to bite you in the ass. So good luck in 2028 when President Newsom knocks you up. Whoa, knocks you up. Whoa, what's going on here? Good luck in 2028 when President Newsom locks you up for protesting against mandatory forced feminization or whatever the f it is Democrats.
And they're going to, well, that's the thing, Shu. They're going to do that regardless. The left has been open and honest for years now that they're going to use power to the full extent to go after the right as best as they can. How many charges did they slap onto Trump when Biden was in power? What happened to the January 6ers? Well, we need to we don't have to look that far back in the past to see what Biden did when he was in power. Granted, it wasn't him in power, to be fair, but it was his administration. And the left already is talking about on Twitter and Blue Sky and everywhere, talking about how they can't wait to get back in power again to completely ruin the Trump administration and everybody voted for him. They're going to do this regardless. And so the only thing that matters in the day is power. And unfortunately, I want my side to have the power because I believe my side is right because the left thinks they're the ones right and I disagree with them and they're more than willing to utilize it. Does it suck that we've gotten to this point? Yes. I would love to have a proper democracy because it sounds great on paper, right? I would love to have these gentlemen's agreements where we both, we both agree with the rule of law. We don't go after each other. Obviously, we have different ideas for how things should go down, but we talk, we debate, we compromise. We don't get, frothing at the mouth wanting to kill each other for our different political beliefs. I would fucking love that. But Shoo, you've been around since Gamergate. You've seen how radical and violent these leftists have been throughout at least the past 10 years. You saw Antifa. You saw Chaz in Seattle. You saw the George Floyd riots, which it seems like you were supporting of that to a certain degree. Not the actual riots themselves, but George Floyd died of an overdose. And Derek Chauvin did nothing wrong. So, you saw all this go down. It's the left has been violent this entire time. It's the only reason why the right has it is because they are scared of power. They are scared of the consequences. They want to still have the gentleman's agreement. They still want to have the debates like Charlie Kirk did. But then Charlie Kirk got fucking shot. Here we are, 10 plus years later, and now the right's finally waking up to the fact that we have to do something for ourselves and defend ourselves. The right doesn't have 55 NGOs in Minneapolis to defend writers there, because that's what the left does. There are at least 55 NGOs and lawyers in Minneapolis that work together with the rioters and protesters to get them out of bail if they get arrested. We don't have that on the right. We don't have George Soros funding things. Elon tweets and tweets and tweets and tweets about the white great replacement, what's happening in Britain. But he's not funding anything himself. He's not trying to make his own groups for these different things. What are we supposed to do? Turn to the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro? Disgusting. Turning Point USA was good for the youth, but once again they shot Charlie Kirk. And it's mostly for just youth turning to conservatives, not actual activism like what the left does. The right doesn't have any of these things. Because if they dared to try, they'd be psyoped. Which is why it's a joke that every single right-wing group is a psyop. It's why I joke about all the time that I'm a honeypot, a Mossad agent. Because this is absolutely absurd. We all know that it's immediately infiltrated for these cases because we're not allowed to actually stand up and defend ourselves. And the right also refuses to do so. Because the left is the one that's violent. And I'm at the point, and it's taken me so long to get to this point, but I finally have, all these years later, to just wake up and realize, yes, my guy needs to be the one in power. And that's all that matters. Does it suck? Yes. But my guy's the one who needs to be in power because the left has made it blatantly obvious for 10 years at the bare minimum. They've only been at this longer, technically, but we're going based off people's recent memories, that they're going to do it regardless. So, I don't care. I literally don't care. I literally do not give a fuck anymore. Because what else am I supposed to do? Ugh. My team good, your team bad. Yes, I hate the fact that we have gotten to such tribalistic points where it's literally my team good, your team bad. I do not like it. It is very infantile, and I feel basic. I know I support tribalism, but to boil it down to my team good, your team bad just feels so childish. But at the end of the day, that's literally what it is, and it sucks. But the left has been understanding this for longer than I've been alive, and look how much progress they've made. Look how much they've ruined society since the end of World War II. And, well, are we better? Are we better off now? Are we happy? Women are on SSRIs like fucking candy. They're the most depressed they've ever been. Men have super high fucking suicide rates. Nobody's dating. Nobody's having kids. Nobody can afford anything. Everyone's deeply unhappy. And we all recognize the fact that the country's going to shit. I don't think we're better off.
What do they do? Nothing. They do nothing. I don't fucking know. I left this joke blank. Something pronouns. God forbid the state ever turns me into Swiss cheese and the president's like, she was a radical leftist lunatic. The people called her Kami Mommy. Can you believe that, folks? Kami Mommy. Sad. And some people were straight up mocking this woman, celebrating it. And then when people were like, what the fuck? They were like, well, you got Charlie Kirk, so now we got one of your guys. Is that what we're doing now? We're just gonna keep killing each other back and forth? Is that what this is now? Some kind of...
We are in a lukewarm civil war. We have been in a lukewarm civil war for a long time. Not to sound like the Beanie Man, Tim Pool, but what do you think the culture war was? It's a civil war for the culture and who has power in charge. And the left won because they understood power and they had the backing for it. The left has been increasingly violent with each passing year. 2017, there were Republicans being shot at a baseball game. Thankfully, none of them died, but a few were injured. How many leftist examples of violence do I need to go through here?
Civil war? Who gets me in the national divorce? Hell yeah, 2 Christmases. You agreed with me when I was upset about the reactions people had about Charlie Kirk, and then you're over here like, boo-hoo, she was a stupid libtard. Honestly, some of you just don't have morals. You have like temporary weapons you can use to bludgeon people you don't like when you have the chance. You and all the people who mock Charlie Kirk are all going in the pit, and you can come out when you learn how to be normal. In my opinion, a lot of focus on illegal immigration should go to the employers employing illegal immigrants for cheaper scab labor. I feel like that's really important, and like, we're not doing that. It's kind of interesting that the government is—
She's got a good point there, which I will, since I've been heavily critical of her for the past like 20 minutes now, she's correct. Going after individual ones is not the solution. You're not going to actually deport them all at once. You have to get rid of the incentives. You have to go after the employers. You have to get rid of the welfare. You have to go into their enclaves and round them all up that way all at once, do it Bukele style, find those tattoos and round them all up. There are many ways to do this effectively, and the Trump administration is not doing this on purpose, which sucks, but at least it's still better than Kamala, because she would just invite more people in. Still better than nothing, once again, but yes, she's correct.
Focus so hard on immigration right now, but like, apparently hasn't made any like real actual legislative change to the laws of immigration. Dragging Jose at a Home Depot might work for now, but they have to be working on something more substantial, right?
Yes.
Well, Palantir, the company named after the evil crystal ball in Lord of the Rings, right, is apparently working on a new tool for ICE. And what does it do? Oh, nothing really. Just creates a map of deportation targets, pulls up a dossier on them, and assigns them a confidence score. Because if there's one thing we can trust, it's a private Silicon Valley tech company's algorithm deciding who gets disappeared. Every single surveillance tool starts by simply protecting us. It's only gonna affect the baddies. But who are the baddies? Today it's illegal immigrants, tomorrow it's furries, next week it's people who are into feet, and before you know it, it's fans of VTubers. You know, on second thought, I don't buy into
It's over, chat. It's too over. We're next.
the propaganda that simply enforcing border security, something every developed country has, is akin to Nazi Germany. Sorry, I don't. Build a wall? Hitler. Deport illegal immigrants? Hitler. Just kick out the criminal ones at least? Hitler. Like, there's no other option besides open borders that is acceptable to some people, and I don't get that. What I do get, however, is that people don't want to live under a Palantir police state, where people can't even film ICE agents without getting put on some kind of f***ing list. I feel like there has to be some kind of normal, sane option besides total free-for-all, globo-homo versus Peter Thiel, nightmare tech bro dystopia. Like, how is it not possible to just, like, be normal. But hey, it's cool the DHS created a portal where you can see all the people they have been deporting. One guy was deported back to Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. We sent that motherfucker back in time. Listen, what happened to Renee Good was a tragedy. It was terrible.
Okay, so to address the Palantir argument here, I actually agree with her to a certain extent. Once again, I'm not a big fan of the government. I'm pretty claustrophobic. I don't like robots. I accept AI as the future, but I'm not exactly a big fan of AI just in general. It's fun for memes, but I don't exactly want it controlling my life, the government using it. Right? I don't really want a technocratic hellhole. I don't like the government tracking me at all. I am well aware that the iPhone that I'm using to track my facial movements also includes the government watching me as I'm fucking speaking. I am aware of all that stuff, and it doesn't make me happy. And I don't like Palantir. It's lost in the void, but I did a stream about Palantir and a video about it, and I was heavily critical of it, and it's also ran by Tiny Hats as well. It does not make me happy that Palantir exists and the government's using it. However, we do need to deport, once again, a lot of people. And I don't trust the database. I do agree that more than likely it will be used against people. The Trump administration made it very clear they're not exactly fans of anti-Semitism. And as much as I don't like the left, and right now they're using the anti-Semitism thing to beat the left, I'm aware it will eventually go back to the right. And that's highly unfortunate. But at the same time, I have to sit here and I'm like, as much as I hate this, my highest priority at this moment is just to deport as many people as possible. That's really it. And in fact, actually, fun little fact, the other day, my dad got sideswiped going into work because, guess what? Guess what, chat? A foreigner who didn't speak English ran a red light. Now, thankfully, he's okay. His car, not so much, but it has to be turned into insurance. All that fun stuff. Which is, it's not like it's totaled or anything like that. But still, like I said, thankfully my dad's actually okay. But he was a foreigner who ran a red light, sideswiped my dad because he was changing lanes in the intersection, which is technically illegal, by the way. And yeah, so that was cool. That was great. I heard he told me that story, and let's just say I thought I already hated immigrants, but then all of a sudden I started hating them more. You don't need to be able to read the sea red. Exactly, but like, not like that they care. Not like they care. And those moments. I really don't care anymore the cost I have to pay to just support as many people as possible. I say that now, and of course when the camera goes after my ass, I'll probably start crying. But then that goes back to the whole power argument. Who was wielding it? That's what matters at the end of the day. Which, like I said, the left. I've been beating this dead horse this entire time. So yes, I don't like Palantir. I know almost for a fact it's going to be used against me. But I just want people to get the fuck out of my country.
Terrible, but hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. And another person was shot by ICE in Minneapolis.
Oh, not pretty.
According to a preliminary Department of Homeland Security report, 2 Border Patrol agents discharged their weapons, seen here in graphic cell phone video captured by eyewitnesses. 10 shots fired off in total in just seconds. Preddy pronounced dead on the scene.
To be absolutely clear, stuff is still coming out about this as I am filming. Literally, as I am filming, this happened. You know, there's no body cam footage yet, so I could be totally wrong. Totally possible, totally possible. However, first impressions of watching the video at multiple angles, multiple times, yeah, I think they just fucking murdered that guy. It looks like they took his gun and then shot him. Like 10 officers come over to him, wrestle him to the ground, the agent disarms him, take his gun, they yell gun, 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 and then they shoot him several times in the back. More information can come out, but the compulsive bootlicking I have been seeing has been fucking insane.
Why does a nurse feel compelled to go confront ICE armed with a 9mm handgun?
Only one person could have prevented this from happening, and it's Alex Preddy.
Yeah, who goes to a protest and brings a gun?
Yeah, I'm gonna crash out. I'm actually gonna fucking crash out right now. Oh my god, okay. I knew when she's based off her opinion on Renee Good, I knew she brought up Alex Preddy, it would be worse. But I wasn't expecting this level of worse. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let me calm down so I'm not having a complete woman moment crash out here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. You know, I feel so bad for the editor because I will make this into a Shoe React slop of it. This is going to be absolute living hell for the editor to turn into a video. Oh, holy shit. Okay. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't protesting. He was defending the business he worked at from violent leftists within the Black Lives Matter riot who actively attacked him, one of them with a skateboard. And the 3 people he shot, one was a wife beater, another one had sexual assault charges on him, and then one's a pedophile. And to shoot into a crowd after attacking you, and to be able to hit people of the most scum of the earth like that. Well, it's not exactly the left sending their best. Don't forget someone pulled out a gun on him. Yes, he was actively in self-defense in this case. Like, actively in self-defense, and he was protecting his business that he was working at with that, too. It's not him going to a protest with a gun, one, it was a riot, and 2, he wasn't there on the side of Black Lives Matter, he was there for self-defense. But what is she gonna do next? So that elderly couple, who was defending their home from the Black Lives Matter riots from roughly the same time? Because I saw the left using them as an example. They're literally defending their homes. This is like the same thing, except it's the place that he worked. Which you can make the argument, okay, well, in the modern age, should you really be defending the place that you work? Because they don't care about you. I would still say yes, if it's especially close-knit and you want to have a job, saying that the Black Lives Matter riots literally burned down cities, you know, fiery but mostly peaceful protest here. What, this comparison is, like, absolutely the worst here. Absolutely the worst. Having to explain this is embarrassing, yes. But I have to, because you still have people to this day who believe, well, 1, believe this, and 2, they also believe he shot black people. Like, there's a good chunk of the black community that thinks that he shot blacks, which is not true. They're all white, and they're all scum of the fucking earth. There's still misinformation of what actually happened during, with Kyle Rittenhouse to this day, 6 years later. Like, this is actually legitimately retarded. Okay, we'll see the rest of her take here, but she said that she recorded this video as the Alex Preddy situation was happening. Now, I don't know when exactly, because, you know, it happened on Saturday. Monday, I did my stream covering the situation, so, you know, almost a week ago. By Monday came around, I already had my opinion fully formed based off what I saw, and I was, well, Sunday, I formed most of my opinion. Monday on stream, I watching more and reading more than I did with my Sunday tweet. I became pretty much fully on ICE's side for what happened there, in those moments. So I'm not sure exactly what day she recorded. And of course, I'm going based off my own timeline for events, because there's also the video that came out, I think, Wednesday of a few weeks ago of Alex Preddy, like, kicking a car, one of the ICE agent's cars, and getting the taillight out and getting a them then. And he did get broken ribs as well, so he's already proven himself to be violent, which I called it in my tweet, and even the left is like, what do you mean he's violent? He didn't do anything, he's just a nurse. Called it. Wow, see, this is for a reason, don't they? in this case. So I will give her a little bit of leeway to a certain extent, depending on what videos she uses as her examples. But
Look, if the government can take a firearm from you and then kill you because you had a firearm, then nobody actually has a right to own a firearm. If that is how it works, then there's actually no such thing as the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not exist. I feel like some people genuinely just forget that police are just people. ICE officers are just people. They're literally just people who work for the government like anyone else. They're DMV employees with guns. They can be stupid. They can be bad. They can make mistakes. Like, I don't know what it is about some people. Like, once someone has a badge, it's like, that person is just a perfect angel and cannot be criticized at all. You're telling me all I have to do to get you fucking people to listen to me is
she looks way too hot in that outfit. I hate it.
Dress like this? Alright, fair enough. Stop gooning. None of this would have happened if ICE agents were being trained better instead of being rushed through the system with little to no training. And if Minnesota just worked alongside ICE to make sure they were doing this in a safe and more effective way instead of just egging on a fucking jihad against them. Also, if ICE's goal is to round up pedophiles and fraudsters, I hear there's a pretty big list of pedophiles and fraudsters that need to be rounded up. Unfortunately, we'll never fucking get to see it. I'm trying to make this video somewhat funny.
I mean, she's correct about the last point. I mean, she is correct. If with the whole 8 weeks of training is not exactly the most amount of time, but both officers, Renee Good and Preddy's situation, have actually been agents. Well, granted, with border control, technically with Preddy, it was actually border control over ICE. But everyone says ICE, including me, and that's my bad. But it's only border control in Preddy's case. But both agents have been part of the federal government and been in the more militaristic roles for years now. They have the training, they have the experience. In Alex Preddy's case, there are a million ways that it could have been completely avoidable. Even if you take out the video of him smashing out the taillight from the ICE agent's car, because that more than likely appeared after she recorded this video. If you take that out of the situation and just only watch the videos that we have seen with the slowdowns and the frame by frames and the multitude of angles, you can see what has happened. So he's part of ICE Watch. He's actively impeding on a federal investigation. He wasn't protesting. There's a huge thing right there. He wasn't protesting. The ICE was there with Border Patrol to actually arrest somebody when all that shit was going down, and they were actively impeding upon investigation. Since he was once again part of ICE Watch, that's why you hear the whistles and the reason why he was quote unquote directing traffic. So that's already one crime committed here. And then he was concealed carrying without an ID, which is technically illegal. Now we can talk about if that should be allowed or not because of, depending on how pro Second Amendment you are. That's a different story, but still, that's technically a crime, not concealed carrying without an ID. And then he was resisting arrest while concealed carrying, and so therefore that already automatically makes him dangerous. If he did actually have his gun, more than likely he would have used it if he wasn't disarmed literally a second before then. Where a lot of people, including Shue, was just saying that he was just murdered, is because he was disarmed before he was shot. What they don't realize, because they slow down the video and we'll go by frame for what happened, is that one agent disarms him and yells gun. Meanwhile, Preddy is resisting arrest. He walks away, and as he's walking away, the SIG, because he has a P320, fires. Which this gun's notorious for misfiring. There was actually a huge controversy last year within the gun groups of what was happening.
And if you touch the slide, let's see if we can touch the slide and get it to go off. We have it staged at 1 millimeter or less as measured on the table, so this is just a guesstimate. And if we put some input into the slide somewhere, will it go off again? Will it release? Let's see.
So it misfiring is actually not surprising, but highly unfortunate for what happened. So 1 second he gets disarmed, the next second the SIG goes off and misfires. This is where the ICE officers back away because they hear the gunshot and they don't know where it's actually from. Then he's reaching, as they're backing up, he stands up, he reaches around, and then he gets shot. When you count the seconds for it, all that goes down within 3.5 seconds. It's between, when I watched the video, it was between 3 and 4 seconds and it went down. So let's say 3.5 for median's sake here. When you're in a life or death situation where somebody has a gun and resisting arrest, it's your life or theirs. And when the gun goes off, and you only have literally a second to decide if it's your life or theirs, you're going to choose your own life. This is not a problem of ICE not being trained properly. This is literally a life or death situation. Yes, the stick if the stick didn't go off, he would probably still be alive even with him resisting arrest. Though it's on Pretty once again for getting a stick in the first place when they're notorious for misfiring. And then, in that case, the problem isn't him bringing a gun to the protest. That's not my criticism of Pretty. It's a little bit suspicious, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to actually criticize him for that. That's not my problem with the situation. My problem is everything Pretty was doing before then, not including the video of him or clicking out a taillight. Not including that, just within those videos that were released alone, what he was doing in those minutes beforehand. The ICE officers, Border Patrol agents, were completely justified. Does it suck? Yes. He shouldn't have died. But everything he did, and everything in those moments, makes logical sense for why he got shot. Is it murkier than Renee Good? Yes. But it's still justified. And once again, I will give Shue some leeway depending on when she made this video here. But if she made this Sunday or Monday of this past week, even Tuesday, all of this was already online. Because I literally I watched this when I made my tweet on Sunday, and I watched all this stuff again live on stream. We went through multiple different cases of evidence for this case. If ICE really did fuck up, I would have yelled at them for it. Because, I mean, well, I do, like I said earlier, obviously there's going to be some mistakes that happen when you're trying to deport millions of people, in this case, and you had the left going after them. But if they really did fuck up, I would have said they fucked up. I still probably would have defended them in some way, shape, or form, just because, once again, it's necessary. But at the same time, if they really did fuck up, then I would have said they fucked up and been like, yeah, okay, the officer probably needs to get more training or whatever the case is, something along those lines, right? Depending on the severity of the situation. ICE was justified in this. This is all apparent why Sunday and Monday. You watched this Saturday, if she made it Saturday, okay, different story. But based off the evidence we have in hand, all is apparent. And then we're not even getting into the fact that police should have been there with the National Guard and Walls and Frey were not helping Trump with the ICE agents for weeks now. And them being there would have helped out a lot if they actually were doing their jobs. But it's a different story here.
Entertaining, but I'm not gonna lie, this is really bleak. Is America okay? Can we please go one single day without living through a major historical event, please? And a bunch of new Epstein files just dropped. Great. We're going to war with Iran soon, aren't we? Where was I?
That was yesterday. So she recorded this yesterday? No, the video was released yesterday. I mean, she might have tacked this on because you can do that when you make a video, right? You can add more segments and, you know, once the video is done. Maybe she's gonna go back before the Pretty situation. Okay, I already did a massive long rant about it. I'm not gonna go on, but okay, whatever.
This just says Mr. Beast tendies. What? Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is simulating a chicken's body, and the cells are just multiplying.
Honestly, can't tell the difference. What the heck?
I will not live in a pod. I will not eat the Antichrist lab-grown chicken tendies. Oh, I completely forgot about this. Sorry, I am not on my Vyvanse today, folks. I forgot to take my normal pills. It wasn't long before the race hustlers took advantage of the terrible Renee Good situation in Minneapolis.
Say Her Name is a movement started by Black women, for Black women specifically, and it's not appropriate to use in regards to Renee Good.
She deserves a hashtag and everything. It should not be Say Her Name. Say Her Name is reserved for Black women.
This is not for any other race. Simple as that.
Say Her Name is specifically reserved for Black women.
Say Her Name is for Black women.
It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
Why do you think, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why. That's called white guilt, honey. That's the white guilt you're feeling.
I saw that clip. It was a while ago with the whole Renee Good situation, was a few weeks ago. But I'm pretty sure that woman literally says because she's white. So I'm not sure why she didn't finish the clip there, but maybe she just wants to mild criticism, nitpicking now. Sorry, I'm irritable.
It's amazing. You can literally be killed by the state for the cause. And these fucking people will still disgrace you for the curse of being born Caucasian. This is very woke 1.0. I thought it was dark woke time.
Nobody forgetting Renee Good. She has achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor.
She has achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor.
I did not see that clip. That's insane. Okay.
And this type of psychotic rhetoric seems to be working because like 70% of the videos I see of people like trying to disrupt ICE has been white women. White women literally throwing themselves at armed officers like lemmings off a fucking cliff for street tacos. What the hell is going on with white women? Who will save the white race?
Oh no.
Ah yes, Hitler's strongest soldiers. a Mexican, a Dominican, a black guy, and a looksmaxer.
That looksmaxer is none other than Clavicular. Clavicular is a Gen Z
That's how you pronounce his name. I've been calling Clavicular. Clavicular. Oh, oops. Fucking hell. But yes, well, since she's moving on, I will just end it with the whole, remember, these people are actually race traitors, though in Freddy's case, he's not a race traitor, he was a small hat. And these people are actively dying and protesting and rioting and being ICE investigations for people that actively hate us just because you're white. We're talking about rapists and pedophiles and sex traffickers, and then Somalians that are committing fraud and looting and pillaging the government and stealing your tax dollars. This is what the left is defending for. So, pardon me if I don't actually care.
Influencer and live streamer who got his start within the niche red pill communities and has recently blown up to mainstream popularity, especially in right-wing circles. His main claim to fame is looksmaxing. Looksmaxing, for those of you who are employed, is...
Looksmaxing is a term for aggressively maximizing one's physical attractiveness through routines like skincare, facial exercises, mewing, fitness, and sometimes extreme cosmetic procedures. Originating in online incel forums, but popularized on TikTok, focusing on enhancing features like jawline and bone structure.
I personally think it's interesting to see men adopting the insane beauty rituals that women have been doing for decades. But now that a man is doing it, it's seen as psychopathic or gay. A woman will literally spend thousands of dollars on hair, makeup, skincare, peptides, plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, red light therapy, moon water, and we just call her Stacey. But a man does it, and we call him Patrick Bateman. A woman reshapes her entire face with makeup? Normal. A man reshapes his jawline with makeup? Gay. A woman wears a push-up bra to make her tits look bigger? Empowering. A man shoves socks in his shoes to make himself taller? A liar. A woman gets lip filler? Typical. A man smashes his face with a hammer to make his jaw swell up? Okay, yeah, that one's a little insane. One of the looksmaxing tips some young men are apparently doing is called bone smashing, where they take a hard object, usually a hammer, and smash the bones in their face to make their face temporarily swell up.
I don't know if he's doing this just for clout, but he's already got, like, a decent jawline and stuff. So the fact that he's doing this is insane. Like, okay, he looks young. He looks like a teenager, so I'm gonna use my words carefully. But all I'm saying is, he just needs a slightly different hairstyle and to get a little bit older, and he'd be fine. What the fuck?
And allegedly give them that Chad jawline. Honestly, don't knock it till you try it. Here we go.
Holy fuck.
Perfect. So that concludes this episode of the Hell World Report. If you liked it, please subscribe and consider donating to my Patreon, link down below. It helps the channel and I appreciate it so much. If you don't want to do that, you can also put a little tip down in the tip jar somewhere over here somewhere.
Yeah, you can do the same too on the VOD, and whenever this video gets released, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Barista. Yeah, it's just gonna ask you something on the screen down there. If you have some stories you want me to cover in the next Hell World Report, be sure to send them to me on Twitter at ShoeOnHead. I will give you a little shout out if I wind up using the story in the next episode. Okay, and I will see you guys with a new fun slop video. I keep promising a slop video, and then terrible things keep happening. I'm sorry. Next video is a slop video. I promise. Who's big government's good little boy? You are.
Hey, that's me. I'm ashamed she said good little boy. She should have said goy instead. But anyway. Well, okay. Now that the vid is over, and I have spent 2.5 hours ranting now. Probably one of the worst videos I've seen of her in a while. Not gonna lie, actually. Like, it wasn't bad during the first half, when she was, like, covering this stuff, like Amelia, Maduro, different things like that, World Economic Forum. But then once she started getting into what happened, with Renee Good, and then pretty much the rest of the video, because it was a repeated point, because then Alex Pretty got popped up, that's where it really went to shit, in my opinion. But, I mean, that's, once again, my opinion, my game theory at the end of the day. Like I've said many times so far this stream and at the beginning of the video, I like Shue. I've been a fan of her for a very, very long time now, but I don't agree with her on everything. I'd probably say this is the biggest divide I've had with her in a long time, though, just because her take was absolutely retarded. And so that sucks. It sucks. But at the end of the day, I guess it is what it is. You know, she will have her opinion. I will have mine. She is wrong. She will think that I'm wrong. And we'll have to agree to disagree. Because debates, nope, there's no point in debating at the end of the day. And then move on to life, and then if she does do a slop of video next, if it interests me, then maybe I'll react to it. If it doesn't interest me, then I won't, because I don't react to every single ShoeOnHead video. And we'll go from there.